Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Experience Matters live Facebook conversation this afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We'll take a couple minutes and introduce everybody to you, and probably take 30 or 45 minutes and talk about some things related to our company and business, and even take some questions along the way here as we go. I want to introduce you to people that are going to be on here with me. First off, I don't know that I know everybody that's on the call. I do know that we have a lot of our current investors, we have some of our staff, and we have new people that are on the new Facebook group page that may not be familiar with us and all of our people. So my name is Kent Clothier Sr. I'm the CEO and founder of REI Nation and Memphis Invest and Premier Property Management. Owned by myself and my wife Sherry and Chris, who you guys have met, and Brett Clothier. On the call with me today is Nat Gray, head of our Premier Property Management, oversees 6,000 properties for us in 7 cities. So he'll be joining us today and talking a little bit about the Premier Property Management side of our business. Ashley Claunch on here. And again, Ashley, just wave to everybody knows which one you are there. So Ashley has been with us for almost 10 years in our sales departments, and sold literally hundreds, probably thousands of houses for us, and is going to be on here talking a little bit about what's going on out there in the community with our current people that are purchasing houses and future buyers. Cyndy McCrary is on the call. Cyndy, are you there? Yep, she's been with us almost 10 years in our customer service department. We have 7 ladies that work in that department, and Cindy's one of them. She handles our WOW customers, or most of our WOW customers. WOW customers are people that own 5 or more properties with us, and there's about 350 of those today that are in our portfolio of 2,000 owners and 6,000 plus properties. And she'll be talking a little bit about that today. But I just wanted to take a minute and first off, thank everybody for joining us. And as we go through the conversation today and the questions you have, be sure to hit the like button there if you would, and that helps us get out to other people. And the love it button that's on there, it helps us get out there to even more people. So if you would hit those, we would appreciate it. So let me just take a couple minutes and introduce our company a little bit to those that are not on here or that are new to us and don't know who we are. But I want to tell you that before or last year in 2019, we went out and I believe that we were live in Hawaii. Several of our team members went to Hawaii and had a couple of day conference, and maybe we were in Northern California in 2019 at some time. And so not being able to do that right now brings us to this live conversation today, where we can talk a little bit about what we're doing, how we're doing the last 9 weeks, which I know everybody wants to hear about that. But let me tell you a little bit about the company, and then we'll get into the conversation with everybody here. So our company's been in business, as many of you know, and maybe some of you on here don't know, for 17 years. And we started here in Memphis as a small company, and today have grown to right at 90 people that work for us. And we have people that work in the buying department where we buy houses, people that work in the sales department, the renovation department, the property management side of the business, the accounting side of the business, the IT side of the business, and the customer service side of the business. And I don't think I left anybody out there, but those are all really, really important part of our team. Every one of those departments have people that work in them that contribute to what we've been able to do over the years. And our company is a little bit different, as you'll see, and those of you that know us already know that we're a much different company than pretty much any other real estate investment company out there in how we run our business. We have a much different culture than most of these companies we'll talk about, or most of these other companies that are out there. And maybe the folks on here will talk about it in a second, a little bit about the culture here. The things that are most important to Chris and I and Brett are our reputation, our credibility, and our integrity. And we do everything we can to protect that and enhance it as each and every day that we're in business. The people that are on this call and the other 90 people, we wouldn't be here today without the great job that all of those people do each and every day. And if you've been to our website and you see in the front page of the website, there's a sign on there that says that average people can't work here. And we have a really different type of staff that work here that are very, very highly qualified to do what they do at a very, very high level. And it just takes a person that comes to work for us that's all in, that's going to give everything they got. And as I said many times over the 17 years, we're in business to serve 4 groups of people. First off is our employees. Second is our investors. Third is our residents. And the fourth is our vendors. So we have 4 groups of people that are the most important part of our job. And if we take care and treat those people the way we want to be treated each and every day, then we're going to be successful. And we've been doing this now for 17 years, as I said, and over 6,000 properties and 2,000 investors. But we learned a long time ago that one of the real important parts of our business is our customer service. And back before anybody was doing it, we started with a couple people in our customer service department today. And today, Nate, I think we have, 7 people in customer service today? And our customer service department, what they do is talk to every one of our investors every single month. Some more often and some maybe not as often. But when a person purchases a property from us, one of our customer service ladies is talking to them every week for the first 4 weeks as we walk them through the process of acclimating them with all of our company and the things that we do. And then one of the ladies will be talking to them every month, updating them on their property, telling them what condition, and asking any questions about their investments and us managing that asset for them. And we do that and do it every single month and have done it for just about every year that we've been in business, and reaching out as a sort of a concierge service that talks to our investors every month to see what they need, how we're doing, keep them informed. And we found that other companies over the years that it was hard to get a hold of anybody to work at the company that once you bought something from them or did business with them. And so we do that. We reach out to every one of our customers every month through our customer service ladies and talk to them and give them updates. And they're available every day, all day, to talk to any of our clients. And that's their sole job, is 100% client service. Our vendors, we're out there working with our vendors. They have expectations of what we expect on the quality of every single house, whether it's a move out or rehab. And so they play an integral part of what we're doing, and they go through a process of being approved by us. And we have today 22 people that work in our rehab department, 28 people that work in our rehab department today in the 7 cities that are out there, overseeing all of our vendors and making sure that the quality and the type of job that we want done on our houses are being up to the standards that we expect every day. The residents that rent our houses are the utmost important to us. And we always said, and we've said it for years, and it's never changed. The most important job in our company is renting houses. And we have to rent houses to make sure that our investors are getting the return that they want. And today, as of this morning, let me look here, we had 96 houses available to rent out of 6,000 houses. So you can see the type of job that our rental team, and led by Nate and Premier, do. To only have 96 houses available out of 6,000 houses is pretty phenomenal. And they do a great job. And as quick as they come online from our rehab or they come online from a move out, they're all usually rented within 30, no later than 45 days. And Nate and his team usually rent about 150 houses a month. So they do a great job. And then, of course, the last of the 4 is our staff. We have a tremendous team of people. Probably over 35 people with us have been with us longer than 5 years. We probably have another 15, 20 people that have been with us maybe over 10 years, if I'm guessing. So we have a great staff of team players that we're lucky to have every one of them. They do a great job for us. And so with that, kind of that little introduction, little monologue things, I'm going to give you some quick numbers, and we're going to get into these folks. And as I said, it's 6,000 plus properties, 2,000 investors, right at 350 customers that are in the WOW group. We're in 7 cities today, and those include, we started in Memphis originally, went to Dallas, went to Houston, and today we're in Little Rock, Tulsa, St. Louis, and Little Rock, Tulsa, St. Louis, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Dallas, and Houston. And Memphis is by far the biggest. We have about 3,500 properties in Memphis and another 1,500 in Dallas, and the rest of them are spread out over those 5 cities. So that's kind of a little bit of the backstory about where we're at today. Whenever we did the live events before, and I was at most of them up until about a year or so ago, and the most recent ones, Chris has taken some of our team out on the road, and we talk and we answer questions and we do things like this. And so it was important that we get back on here today and start talking to you guys and introducing part of our team. And I'll be coming back periodically, maybe weekly, maybe every other week, and bringing some members of our team on here for you guys out there to meet and talk to them and ask them some questions and put a name with a face on some of these great people. So let me just dive in here first to Cyndy, who again is one of our longtime customer service ladies, handles a large portion of our WOW group. We actually have 2 customer service ladies that handle the 350 WOW customers. And again, those are the people that own 5 or more properties with us. So Cyndy, let me just ask you, how's it going with our clients? I know we've come through this COVID thing, which was kind of we didn't really know how this was going to be, but it's been better than we thought with the rents and the collections, and on our property management side has done a great job on collecting the rent. What's on the minds of our customers out there today as you talk to several or many of them every single day? What's on the minds out there of customers that you're talking to every day?
Most of our investors are extremely happy with all the returns they're getting, especially during this virus. I know it was a shaky time and unusual time, but we've been able to collect a good portion of the rent, and folks are just really, really happy. I've talked to them usually 2 to 3 or 4 times a month, keeping them updated on partial payments, and everything that's going on with their property. It's a lot more communication than we usually do every month, but they've appreciated it and are extremely happy with our company and the way we've handled this whole situation.
Cyndy, how long have you been handling the WOW customers? Those, I know you started in customer service, but those that have over 5 properties, how long have you been handling? I know that group started off with about 100 and now it's grown to 350. We're going to add another, I think we looked recently, we're going to add another 75 people, roughly 75 people into the WOW group this year, that they come in and they keep moving their portfolios from 1, 2, 3, or 4 on up to the 5 and then come into the WOW group. How long have you been working with our WOW customers?
Ever since it initiated, when we first started and made up this group, we decided the Clothier family, of course you, developed this whole group that owns 5 or more houses. And so I've been the initiator since the very beginning, and I think it's been about 5 or 6 years now that this whole thing got started. So I've been from the very start.
Very good. Let me just jump off here. I got a couple questions that are coming in. Let me just, we'll see if somebody wants to answer this. This is from Kat. What can owners do better? How can an owner be a better partner today, if anything? And I'm assuming that question is, how can we be a better partner working with our clients and working with us? And I'll take this one, and I just think that if owners, we know we do what we do, and sometimes we say no to new owners that come in because they don't really understand how we operate. We're one of the few companies, we don't put any of our houses on a website. We don't do that. Today we have a large group of people waiting to buy houses from us. We have several properties available today, and what our sales team does is match those up with people that are looking for certain properties in certain cities. So what can the owners do better? Have patience as we find the property for you and try to answer your needs. Let us do what we do in the property management business. From time to time, we get owners that want to get more involved in the property management side of it, and we kind of have to just say, let us do what we do. Like I said, we only have 90-something vacancies today out of 6,000. And we're always working for the owner. Where can we plus up the rents at? We had a meeting this morning with our property management team, looking at the rates. We're seeing a lot of people interested in rental houses today. We're hearing a lot in the news about people that are wanting to get out of certain neighborhoods or certain apartments or certain high rises because of the COVID-19 and get into single family houses. So we're looking at our availability today, and we're screening better than we've ever had before. But the biggest thing for the owners, when you come into our group, just let us do our job. And our job is to get the return for you, to get the resident for you, and to protect your income or to protect your asset. And I spoke a long time ago in Hawaii, and it came up about, I think the comment went something like this: when you put your head down on the pillow at night, we got you covered here. We know what we're doing. In all 7 cities, we got great people that are going to take care of your investment. Are there going to be hiccups along the way? I think in the 4 or 5 years we've had, or in the last 4 or 5, 7 years, we've had a couple of fires every once in a while. There's a maintenance thing. So there's going to be stuff that happens. But we know how to handle just about everything. And I'll say this on the COVID thing, that when it came up the middle of March, we gathered all of our people in the room, and we hunkered down for the next 4 weeks and took a look at everything. The most important thing that we did, we put up a task force under Nat Gray's guidance here, that we took 8 of our people that have been with us a long time. We cleared off some other people, some admin people just for a little while. And I wanted to put 8 really strong people on talking to our residents that didn't pay. And we actually started back the last week, and I kind of jumped ahead a little bit here. You got a little bit of Nate's thunder. We actually jumped ahead a little bit. The last week of March, we were actually looking at people that had already paid April rent in the last week of March. So we knew about March 25th that we had already a good percent of April rents in. And then when we got to April 5th and April 10th, Nate's task force of about 8 to 10 people kicked in, calling the 200, 300, or 400 that had not paid and seeing what we needed to do if they had lost their job, if they had got their stimulus, if they had got unemployment, if they had been furloughed. What can we do to help them? So we got way out ahead of this very quickly. And then we ended up collecting just about all of the rent that we would normally collect in a month. And Nate will talk about how May rent is going so far. So back to the question, if people will just let us do the job. Back in 08 and 09, when all of this happened back then, we rode right through this. We came right through it. And the best thing back then, and there's a question on here, let me look, question from Jeremy about 08. And do you see this current pause in the real estate market? So what would you do different? Well, back in 08, the problem was money. And we didn't have a problem with money because we didn't have any banks. Back when, in those times, we had all private lenders, and pretty much all of our competition then had banks, and we were able to swoop in there and buy a bunch of properties because we didn't have banks. Now, as we came out of that, banks have been coming to us, and we do business with some banks now, but it's not all of our business with banks. We still have other private lenders, but so it's a much different situation than it is today. And somewhere around 2012 or 13, we had big floods here in Memphis, and a lot of our investors were concerned about the river. And we were in here on the weekend looking at all of our properties and really recognized that at that time, about 2,000 Memphis properties, we only had 4 or 5 that were in the area where it was possible. So we know how to go into crisis management mode, and we know how to put the right people in the right spot to get the best result. Are we out of the clear with COVID-19? By no means are we. This is a long process. We're in maybe the second inning of a 9-inning game, but we have it surrounded. We're on it. And Ashley's going to talk about in a minute about, we didn't know if we would sell any houses in the month of April. And she'll talk to you in a minute about how we did that and how May is going so far. So we got a question on there. A couple, let's see, there's some more that are coming in. I'll come back to those in a minute. Nate, let me go to you for a couple of minutes and talk about you overseeing 6,000 properties and a big team in Memphis and Dallas. And we got a great property management team over in Dallas led by Missy and Ryan over there. And Why don't you speak for a minute about the property management side and on how we're doing, sir?
Sure. I think what Ken mentioned is, the uncertainty of everything going into this. We didn't have a playbook. There is still no playbook. There's no rule book to go by. Our approach was being really attacking two different things. And one is being proactive. What Kent said, we set up that task force. We set up a team to be able to handle and attack that early on. We started tracking calls coming in. Ken, I think it was mid-March. And then, like you said, before April even got here, we were already looking at and planning and preparing for how April was going to work out. And then really on the customer service side, kind of to echo what Cyndy was saying, is communication. It's as simple as that. We don't have all the answers. What we do have is a great team that's working very hard and over communicating with our owners. One of the main things that we've been hearing for feedback from our owners is they appreciate the communication to them. Our goal was back in April to call every single owner by the 15th of the month. So we gave our customer service team a big challenge to make a lot of phone calls by the 15th of the month to proactively reach out to the owners, let them know what we were doing, let them know what our numbers were, about the team set in place, and kind of like you said, Kent, just let us do what we do best, which is manage the properties. That's exactly what they've hired us to do. And luckily, and a fantastic job by our team, we turned out significantly better than we expected, and heck, the way that everybody expected. A lot of things were the way that they were gonna go. So proactive and over communication has been the name of the game for the past 2 months. And like Kent said, we're not out of the woods yet. We're still doing the same things that we did back in April for May. We'll continue doing those things if and when and for however long we need to, and working with our residents to get an acceptable plan in place, being compassionate and having empathy with the situation at hand, and working with them and treating them the way that we would want to be treated. It's really panned out for us so far, and that's the plan moving forward.
And just to add on there, Nate, and one of the things that we're doing in the underwriting, which is the application process, and we knew some people had gotten furloughed and laid off in the different cities. So as we approve a resident to move into a property, and let's say today on the 13th that we approve a resident today, and we check their verification of where they were before, verification of employment, on and on and on, that 24 to 48 hours before they move in and close the lease, we may approve a lease today on the 13th, but it's not going to close and say till the end of the month. Well, 2 days before they're due to close, or really 24 hours, we're going back and checking their employment again. We're checking their income again. And unfortunately, at the end of April, as we did that, we ran across 5 or 6 people that between the time they were approved and the time that they closed, they had lost their job. And then we have to go back and regroup. And I think in those cases that we did not end up putting them in the houses because that's not a situation that's good for our owners. So we jumped on that from the get-go and realized that everybody that we approved, it really started in March, Nate. We started doing that in March, and that we approved. And before we let them close at the end of March, we were looking at and verifying all this stuff again. And then, of course, we're doing that now, and we've already talked about it again this week that we're doing it this month. And Nate's going to rent probably about 150 houses this month. He's already closed about 50 for this month, but we're going back before they close and before the resident signs the docs and we exchange funds, that we're verifying their employment and verifying their income again. And because that's what an owner would expect us to do. And that's all part of the process that we do, all part of the details that we take care of on the front end. So let me go to Ashley. Ashley, so you've seen some little bit different times here over the years, and obviously we're in one today, and we sit in here and we talk, Chris and I and Brett, Jessica, our CFO, sometime about our sales team has managed to go out last month, in the month of April. And how many houses did we contract last month, Ashley?
So last month we contracted 66 properties during the middle of the storm, so to speak.
I mean, just think about that for a minute. That with all the fear that was out there and everybody shut down and locked in, and our sales team managed to sell that. Ashley, do you have a breakdown of how many existing customers that was and how many new customers that was?
Yeah, so out of that, 23 were brand new buyers. So close to 30% of those contracts written were brand new buyers. And of course, the remainder were existing. And so that in itself was pretty amazing.
I've told you all many times and I've told you that was an unbelievable job, because when we went into April, we didn't know, with everything that was on the news out there and how bad it was and all of that. But again, it goes back to, I think, what's most important to us, our reputation, credibility, and integrity. We have typically every month we sell about 80 or 90 houses, and we know that's going to go back a little bit now because of the COVID. But about every month, over 50% of our current clients of 2,000 investors buys another home, buys their second, third, fourth, 12th, 13th, whatever it is. Ashley, what is, I know we've talked every day, and by the way, we meet with our sales team every morning. We have a 9 o'clock meeting, and Chris and I and Brett, we know everything that's going on in the sales department, what is being said out there, what's going on with our houses, what are our customers looking for. Ashley, I know we've talked recently about the mood has lightened up a little bit different with the clients. The first couple of weeks of April, it was really tough. And then kind of tell us how it's gone the last 2 to 3 or 4 weeks in the sales department and talking to potential clients and current clients.
Well, I think like everyone's experienced, when it first happened, the unknowns, the uncertainty was kind of ruling our minds and our actions and what we were doing. But as things have kind of settled down some, and obviously they weren't as bad as initially anticipated, and the economy starting to slowly open again, investors are starting to move again. We knew, in April that we were going to be relying on existing clients because they had been with us. They had experienced, everything that Nate and Cyndy talked about, the systems and everything we had in place that were protecting their assets. So, but the new investors coming in, those were the ones that we really, just continue to build the relationship and continue to just teach them, educate them on who we were and what we did. And this was no better time to shine than now, because the numbers and the data that Nate shared through property management was just, again, in normal times, that's great. But in times like this, it's phenomenal. It's off the charts. And so that has helped really just, again, encourage investors that you're with the right team and you're with the right company, you're with the right people. And as we built those relationships, now we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're starting to move forward with adding new investors in, and of course, just doing what we do and what we do best. Like you guys said, we have it down to a science.
Ashley, we have a question here from Jeff, and I'm going to let you answer it, okay, as best you can. The question is, are you seeing investors use self-directed IRAs or traditional financing? That's the first question. And the second one, are they primarily buying for retirement or income? Can you answer that one?
Yeah. Sure. So Jeff, and how are you? A longtime client, but so it's pretty much from what we're seeing. Of course, there's benefits right now to leveraging because of the interest rates, and of course, everybody's noticed that. Right now, for a non-owner occupant loan, you can lock in from anywhere from 3 3/4 to 4.5%, which is great. It affects the numbers and increases the returns. So we still do have a lot of investors, though. You have to realize what the stock market did through this, kind of spooked some investors into, moving some assets back over to more of the hard asset real estate side that we're doing, and that secure investment. And so we really, there's kind of perks to what's going on for both sides of the equation. So we've seen the balance stay and maintain through this with the division between traditional financing and investors using their retirement accounts.
Thank you, Ashley. And Ashley, typical in month, and I'm looking at some data here because I see the question, somebody's asking how much what percentage of the people pay cash and what percentage of people finance? And this is a question, let's see, who is this from? Jose on there. The question was, with COVID-19 having a negative impact, are there any bright spots on the horizon for real estate? He's on the sidelines and wanting to know if he should be aggressive or passive client. Ask how many of those buying in April use cash versus leverage. So I think that most of our clients, the highest percentage of our clients are leveraged. Would you agree with that, Ashley?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm all in on real estate, as we have for many years, and I think our clients will tell you that. That COVID-19 has had a negative impact on certain parts of real estate, for certain commercial, for certain industrial,
Right.
but there is a lot of news out there that the space that we're in has not been adversely affected.
Right.
And it's probably, and again, I'm not talking about me. Anybody on the call can go look this up because it's out there. I think there was a Wall Street Journal article about this is the time, because of what people are fearing about spacing and looking to get out of certain maybe cities and towns and high rises and get into single family homes. So we have seen an uptick already in the rentals of what we're doing. And so this is we feel like is a very good time to be involved in passive real estate. Ashley, you want to jump on that with anything?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to second you with all that. And I don't know if you wanted to bring this up, but as you know, we do list all of our properties as well on the MLS, and our demand for even the owner occupants. So people looking to purchase and move in the single family residence, and also the rental increase and what we've seen on that side. So, you know, if anything, and then of course the interest rates, like I mentioned, coming down slightly for non-owner occupant loans. So, so if anything, you know, I feel like what we've seen has been the demand has not dropped. If anything, it's increased. The demand in the rental has increased. And then of course, you know, the numbers are slightly increasing just due to the ability to you know, pay less for borrowing money.
I can tell you that and Cyndy, I'll get you to jump on this, that every week our customer service department, as they talk to people on the calls every week, they have investors that are saying, have Mark or have David or have Ashley Tinker or Ashley Claunch or Mark Cobb call me that I'm interested in talking about another house, even during this time. Cyndy, is that still going on during these times as you talk to investors every day?
Very much so. People are still very interested in it. There's a lot of people that still are employed and able to afford and are taking advantage of these rates and the opportunity, especially with the houses that we have now. So yes, I definitely see it in a lot of our existing investors definitely buying again.
I know we have Drew Clothier and Blake Clothier both talking to investors too this month as we went through this, and they've bought a lot of people to the sales people that are interested in talking about whether they want to buy another house today or the midsummer or in the fall. So they've continued to bring those to them every single day. But Nate, I got a question for you that's on here from Janelle, I believe is how you say it. Are we seeing an uptick in maintenance and repairs right now reported by residents? Good question. We've talked about it many times.
Hey, Janelle, and yes. So again, we were proactive with maintenance early on. Towards the end of March, we instructed our team for two reasons, to follow, you know, CDC and WHO guidelines to try to limit maintenance as best we could to emergency or only quality of life repairs within reason. And that's been pretty easy to do on the phone with our residents. On the flip side, we have seen an uptick in calls because more people are at home. So everybody's at home. Everybody's using the restrooms or plugging their phone chargers in or doing this and doing that. So sure, we've seen an uptick in the number of calls in. But again, we planned ahead. We knew that that was going to be occurring. We have a plan in place to discuss with residents when and if they call in, and if it's something that's not of an emergency status, then we're able to discuss with them for their protection. We want to try to limit additional exposure from having to send somebody into their property. So now, on the flip side, we've had plenty of calls that have needed to be handled with quality of life or essential services, and we've had the precautions, proper precautions in place to be able to do that. So, kind of a twofold answer there.
Yeah, really good, Nate. We're taking measures with our vendors in our houses when they go to a property with the proper guidelines. And just as a company, we've set up our offices. We've put up the plexiglass where needed. We have all of the guidelines, all the signs, all the things, all the social distancing, everything that we're supposed to be doing. Today, about probably a little over half of our team is slowly coming back in. We had a few more in today, but we still have some daycare center issues with some of our staff, and we're working with everybody as eventually we slowly start back here and people coming back in. But our people have done a really good job remotely. Continue with that until we get everybody back in here, which eventually we will have everybody back in. But let me go back for final thoughts, and we'll wrap this up here in a couple of minutes. Let me go first to Ashley. Ashley, any thoughts that are on the sales side that questions I didn't ask, or comments that we may want to let the listeners know? And by the way, if you just jumped on the call here, we appreciate everybody being on the Experience Matters live call today. And if you'd hit the like button and the love button, it would help us attract future people down the road for the next call. We'd appreciate that. Ashley, go ahead, ma'am. Do you have anything else today that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I would just say that if you're a current client, or if you are just considering this type of investing with us, to feel free, if you've been connected to one of us on the sales side, to reach out. A lot of what we do on the front end is, like I said earlier, is just educate you on how we do what we do, and just kind of dive a little deeper into the stuff that we've been talking about today. So feel free to reach out. I know some people have a little more time on their hands these days, and we're available. We're flexible with scheduling and so forth. So we'd love to hear from you. Any questions you have, send our way. And that's about it for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Cyndy, anything on the customer service side with our clients?
I want to reiterate pretty much what Ashley said. She's on the portfolio advising side, but I'm on the customer service side. Any of our current investors, we're here for you. We have been here for you the whole time. Reach out to us if you need anything, but just know that we're going to be here for you throughout the month, throughout the coming months also, and to make sure that your properties are being taken care of and our communication is very open. So give us a call if you have any questions. You should know who your customer service rep is. We're here for you.
Good. Nate?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that you've got a great team here working for you, and I can't take any of their credit. We've got a fantastic team of folks. Like Kent said, started out when we first started a team here in Memphis, a team in Dallas, a team in each one of those cities that were in boots on the ground, working hard for you guys every single day amidst all of this craziness and uncertainty, and we'll continue to do that. And if you ever need us, let us know, but just know that we're here working for you day in and day out. It hasn't changed our philosophy. Hard work, and the harder you work, the better the results you get. So we're here doing that for you day in and day out.
Let me just say, and I'll wrap it up to our current investors and our anybody out there that's new that maybe not familiar with us or who we are. There is no company in this space, in this real estate space, that works harder than us. And we talk about not being a real estate company, but being a customer service company that's in the real estate business. And that's what's got us here today, because of the type of service. That's why over half of our business every month is repeat customers, because we are available to talk to them, to help them on what's going on with their properties, talk about them. We get so many referrals every month from our existing customers that are out there, and Because again, I go back to what I said early on 30 minutes ago. Our reputation, credibility, and integrity is the most important thing. Are we perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? Yes. But is this the hardest working group of people that you will ever find? I'll put our property management company up against anybody, whether they have 500 or 20,000 properties. I'll put our rest of our team in the quality and the attention to detail that we do every single day. And again, each year or each month before the COVID hit, we would have 5 to 10 clients that would travel in from around the country to visit our offices. We hope to start that back up at whatever the time is right for that. But many of our clients have been to our offices, met our great team, been to our Texas office, see what we do. We're in this for the long run. We're not going anywhere. We may take a step back to go 2 steps forward, but we're okay with that because we're set to do that. We can handle whatever adversity comes our way, and we'll work our way through it. Like I said a few minutes ago, we're in about the 2nd or 3rd inning of a 9-inning game here, not knowing what June and July and August is going to look like. Hopefully the country opens back up and we get kind of back to normal, but we'll play whatever hand we got and we'll come out much better in the end when all of this is done. Because again, we know how to do this. We have the people that can handle it. We have the experience. We have the knowledge. We have the leadership. We have the great staff of people. And I think that's why people like doing business with us, because of the commitment that we have. And the culture of our company is nothing but hard work, take care of the details, and that's kind of where we are. So thank you for all of you for joining us today. We appreciate it. We've gone about 45 minutes. Hopefully there was some good stuff on here for you. We'll come back in another week or so, and I'll see if I can talk a couple other of our folks into getting on here with me. We'll answer some questions and talk about some topics. But on behalf of our company and the Clothier family, thank you very much for one, being a client or being a potential client for us and join us today. Have a great day. Thank you.
Everybody.